was his obsession, not Michael's.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Movies and Beyond. Once again, I am Michael, and today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to look at the original 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween on a different level. We're going to look at it in a what-if scenario. Now, we know the story of John Carpenter's Halloween. You know, Michael chases Laurie Strode. At the end, you know, they have a confrontation. The end, right? But what if you look at the evidence and possibly say Michael was never after Laurie? Now, we know how the movie went, and this is just a fun little scenario, but let's look at the evidence, and let's just look at it from the aspect of saying that Michael was never originally after Laurie. All right? So we know at the beginning, Michael's in his house and Laurie comes by and drops off the keys. Now, Michael's definitely curious. You know, somebody's at his house. He looks out the window. He's staring at her. And you see him step to the side, you know, as she's walking away, singing her song. And you get that great over-the-shoulder shot of Michael watching her walk away. Now, when he looked out the window, he also saw Tommy Doyle, right? So he goes to Tommy's school and he watches Tommy. You know, who is this kid that was at my house? Doesn't really do anything, just kind of looks at him, you know, follows him a little bit and seeing what's going on with him, right? Shows up at Laurie's school as well, looking through her classroom window, just kind of seeing what's going on with her, right? At this point, the movie's showing, well, you stopped by my house, now I'm after you. But what if Michael was just curious who came by his house? Because you think later on in the movie, you know, he really doesn't have too much to do with them because he's just driving down the street. Laurie's with her friends, and Annie yells, "Hey, jerk, speed kills." Remember that? And he slams on the brakes. Now, Michael hasn't shown any aggression. He's only shown curiosity at this point. But this was kind of his first aggressive moment, and it wasn't due to Laurie, it was due to Annie. So he slams on the brakes, he kind of looks at them, and then he goes on. Later, Laurie and Annie are walking together, and Michael appears from outside of the bushes. You know, that famous scene where he kind of creeps to the side, looks at them, and then steps behind the bushes. It's always been our impression that he was still spying on Laurie, but what if he was just pissed about what Annie did, right? So he's kind of watching her. Now we're under the impression that he's still following Laurie, but what if Michael was just aggravated that Annie yelled at him, right? So, you know, Annie runs up, there's nothing there, of course. And we move on with the movie. Now, Laurie gets to her house and she looks out the window. She sees Michael standing there next to the clothesline. But then he just instantly disappears. So you could look at that as maybe her mind's playing tricks on her because Michael was never there. There was never a break, you know, in her turning around and then looking back. She was staring the whole time. He was there, then he wasn't. So you could make the argument that Michael was never there, or that her mind is playing tricks on her, right? Now, I'm not saying this is what it is. Again, this is for fun, but one could make the argument that Michael was never there. Later on, you get Annie picking up Laurie, and as they're driving, who appears behind them? Michael, but yet it was Annie's car, and Annie was the one driving. Michael follows them to where they're babysitting. He pulls over, and he gets out of the car, and what direction does he go first? He goes to Annie's house. That's where he begins his stalking. Again, one could make the argument that, you know, you need the movie to go on and you need, all those things. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of who is he after more, I would have to say it was Annie. So Michael does his Michael thing, right? Stalking, looking through the windows, following Annie. He's following Annie at this point. He watched Lori get out of the car and go to the other house. He pulled over, but yet he went straight to Annie's house. Now you could say if he was directly after Lori, he would have went there first, right? But he didn't. Michael went directly for Annie. And eventually, he chokes out Annie in her car and he gets what he wants. Now, who's it? Linda? I believe it's Linda and Bob show up, but Michael's already in the house, right? So you get the famous Bob kill. He kills Linda when she's on the phone with Lori, and Michael does pick up the phone. But yet he doesn't really show any interest. He's not headed over there. He's hanging out in the house. Now, Lori hears the call of her friend in distress, so she goes over there. Michael didn't go over to Lori. Lori came to Michael. Yet when she finds Annie's body and, Bob and Linda, things happen. Michael, you get that famous shot of Michael appearing out of the darkness. He stabs Lori, but Michael never went after Lori where she was. He never went over there to say, I'm killing you. He never went over and initiated it. Lori initiated it by going into the house that Michael was in. Now, from then on, he stabs her and the chase is on, right? But I wonder if Michael was ever after Lori at any time. Right? One could make the argument. Do I say that it's 100% this is what it is? No, of course not. But would it be safe to say that if Lori never went over there, then maybe the night would have possibly been different? This is what I love about the what if scenarios, right? That's what it is. It's what if. What if Lori never went over there? I feel like this is a fun way of looking at this because this movie at this point is 45 years old. This is one of the things that makes it so good. A lot of people look at this as a Michael versus Lori movie, but if you look at it this way, maybe it was never about Lori. Just like in 2018 and in Halloween Kills, it was never about Lori. Was it ever about Lori? That's a good question. Could one make the argument to say that she inserted herself into that situation? Possibly. I think this is a fun way to look at this. Now, like I said, is it the answer? Probably not. But one could raise the question that if Lori had minded her business, she may have never had that confrontation with Michael Myers. Sure, she would have been sad that her friends were killed, but yet Halloween may have ended a little differently. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Tell me in the comments section what you think. Is it totally crazy to entertain this idea? Or could we be onto something here? There's only one person that knows the answer to this question, and I'm sure that that's John Carpenter. I don't know. I think that it's crazy that you watch this movie for 45 years and you still have questions about it. But again, I would love to know what you guys think in the comments section. Let me know. Did I miss something? Is there something else that I left out that could throw this whole theory upside down? Let me know in the comments. That's all I have on this subject. But again, let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to reading the comments, and I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say about this one. So as always, I will see you guys next time.